Hi, in this video we're going to start working on this slimy trail that the snail leaves behind. So this is where we left in the last lesson. I just resaved this as 18 begin. I'm going to bring my outliner and I'm going to hide my body right now because I don't really need it. I don't want to be wasting like render resources. So now I'm going to concentrate on this area. This is what we have. Right now we just have a gray element. Actually, I should unhide my trail. Show selection. There we go. Okay, good enough. Let's bring our hyper shade. I'm just going to clean it up. I'm going to create a blend material, which we're going to call slimy trail blend. And for the base, I'm going to use an SSS. Most of what we're doing in this final image will be based on SSS. I'm going to call this SSS trail SSS. Just connect it to my blend. Let me move this a little bit so we can see what we're doing. Apply it. Good. So now we have it. We don't really see much going on, so let's go ahead and adjust our values. I'll move my outliner out. And first thing I'm going to do, change this to refractive. I really want it to be refractive. I'm going to kill my speculars in the meanwhile. I'm going to raise my radius to maybe 5 centimeters and make my scatter color lighter and give it a tint of green, a very slight tint of green. Let's see how that looks. Okay, I might want to make that even lighter color. Actually, I don't want to lower my saturation. I just want to raise this up. There we go. So it's getting a little bit of that green tint. It's really hard to see the refractiveness since what's underneath it's just gray. So really quickly, I'm going to add a temporary material to my metal, and I'm going to, in the diffuse color, just add a checkerboard. Re-render, just so we see what's going on. Okay, now we can see a lot better. We see that refractiveness going on. We're going to work on this base, but I just wanted to add quickly like some refractiveness. So I like that the way that's working out, but I want to pay attention to my colors right now. So I like that green tintish, but I want actually the subsurface color to be maybe a more yellowish color. Something like that. Let's see how that plays out. So the light trapped inside is going to take this greenish color, but the light going through is going to take that yellowish color. And I'm really trying to get a little bit of those two colors. And maybe I'm going to work a tiny bit on my filter color. And to do that, I'm going to work on a ramp. So let me just clean everything and bring that guy back. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and create a sampler in foam. There we go. Create a ramp. We don't really need the place 3D texture since we're going to be using the sampler info for the placing information, and I'm going to connect my facing ratio to my UV coordinates. There we go. And now here, I'm going to get rid of the middle one, and I want the blue one to maybe be this green but a little bit more saturated, and this one maybe to be the yellow one but a little bit more saturated. And I'm going to apply this as my filter color or my overall color. Let's re-render it, see how it looks. Maybe it's too much saturation, we can always go back, but I think it's working really well. We still have a lot of noise. Let's try to get rid of that noise quickly just for visualization purposes. So bring this to, I don't know, 64, re-render. And I might want to raise my IOR just to so I have a little bit more of distortion. Right now, I believe the default it's at 3.1 at 1.3, so I'm going to make this 1.6 just so we get a little bit more of distortion and it doesn't look just like water. I want it to be something thicker than water or something like that. That's better. It's starting to look really good. Let's move to the side. Yeah, I'm really liking the distortion and all that. We're going to add displacement to this, which is really going to give us a lot more depth. So the next thing I want to do just quickly is add some speculars. I'm going to add two layers of speculars, a very low glossy level one on the SSS, and then maybe one on top that has like a noise as a mask or something like that. So I'm going to select this one, bring my specular up, maybe 0.6, maybe 0.65. Quick render how that looks. Okay, so we have some speculars. I like the way this is working on. And now I'm going to add a very thin layer on top of it, some kind of like wet layer, so it looks a little bit more wet. So I'm going to bring another V-Ray material. We're going to call this trail coat. I'm going to make it be black. I'm just interested in the specular part. With this guy here, I'm going to use the same reverse that we have, like the same sampler info, plug everything in, bring a remap, nope, input value, plug this one, add value to my, there we go. Now just make it reflective, give it some glossiness, maybe 0.775. That's better. Adjust my curve. And all this guy, yeah, something like that. Doesn't have to be a perfect Fresnel. I just want to give it some kind of camera angle effect. Okay, that I think that should work okay. Maybe add a tiny bit of, I don't know, fractal noise as a bump. Make it very, very subtle. 0.05, and then bring this in as my code 0. Make sure it's a very slight contribution. Give it one last try. Okay, maybe I want to bring those second speculars up a little bit, so I'm going to make this 0.1. I'm just going to raise some values a tiny bit. Maybe this can be 8 to 5, and I'm going to change this curve a little bit so we get a tiny bit more reflection. Something like that. My contribution can be a tiny bit more. Let's give it a try. Okay, that's looking a lot better. I like the speculars a lot more. I'm actually going to raise this value even a tiny bit more. Yeah, that seems good. One less render. And I like the way this is looking. Maybe later I'll bring down a little bit those green tones, but I really like this is working. So I'm going to stop this video here. On the next video, we're going to shade this base. I thought it originally as like a metal base where the snail is sitting. And once we've shaded that, we can just add displacement, set a little bit our render settings, and submit our final image. So we'll continue on the next video.